Hey everyone, this is Brooke Nichols back here with another video from Nature's Premiere. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode. So for those of you who are wondering, like, why would this chick be talking about veganism on her diaper service channel, I just want to kind of take a couple steps back and talk to you guys about why I do what I do at Nature's Premiere. And I want to be very candid in this video. I don't have any scripts, not that I'm ever good at reading them anyway, but I digress. Pretty much the situation is that, I started Nature's Premiere when I was only 22 years old, and that is a diaper service. It's a cloth diaper service. We also offer compost diapers, but we are going back to our cloth diapering roots, and that's more news to come on that. But the reason why we started the cloth diaper service is truthfully because I have such a deep commitment to the environment. And it sounds corny, but it happened when, I was a child pretty much. Like ever since I was born, I always had this like deep commitment to animals. I always had this, and it's funny too because I'm scared of a lot of animals, like horses and stuff. Like you think I'd be like kind of like a Jane Goodall type, but I'm scared of a lot of animals. But I always loved animals. I always respected animals, and I always respected that they had a place here, even if I didn't understand it, if many people didn't understand it. I was always very empathetic towards the environment, towards what humans did to the environment. And when I started having my own children, I was so like gung-ho and dead set on not using a product that's going to harm the environment. And that's pretty much how my whole life has been. So Nature's Premiere is really built on the foundation that I have a real commitment to the environment, a strong, like not scripted, not greenwashing, no BS, like a real commitment to the environment and to animal welfare and to human rights. Like I am just someone that really loves to make a difference in the world, and I've tried to since I was a little girl, and I love, Earth. I love everything about it, right? Even the craziness, I love everything about it. It's such an amazing experience to be here and to be with my fellow Earthlings. And not to sound like a total yuppie, but I want to like really build on this platform and be completely honest with what I'm doing. And it'll probably explain for most of you who watch my show, we have the Nature's Premiere podcast, you're probably like, why does she talk more about kids and like parenting and stuff? And I do talk about it, I really try, but it always like segues into environmentalism, into sustainability, into, like zero waste, into veganism without saying it. But I just want to be very honest and candid with you all in this video. And I've been seeing a lot of like YouTube videos come up, oh, why am I not vegan anymore? Why am I not this? Why am I not that? And I just wanted to share my journey with you as to why I am a vegan for the last 17 years and why I'll be a vegan the rest of my life. Because it's not based on what I eat, more so it's based on my ethics and my morality and how I feel towards animals and the planet. Now I'm just going to share my story real quick with you all. If you guys have any questions, if you want me to, elaborate on some things, because I'm going to kind of go through it real quick, please leave a comment below in the comment section below, and I'll certainly get back to you. I'm a super small channel, so I'll definitely be more like engaging with you all. So I became a vegetarian when I was 4 years old. Now there's a whole story that's wrapped up in that, but that's a lot for a kid who is part of a family. My mother, her whole Italian families off the boat from Italy, and they were very heavy pasta, chicken parmesan, like just lots of meats and cheeses, her whole diet. My father's side was very meats and potatoes and that whole scene, right? And I became a vegetarian at 4, not for health reasons, obviously, but like if some could. I guess some intelligent 4-year-olds can become it for health reasons, but it was really just morality. And I had a very difficult childhood with being a vegetarian. I was the only kid that didn't eat meat. I was constantly made fun of by my peers. I was constantly made fun of by teachers, by parents. And I always thought that, like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I eat a product from an animal? And the only reason why I ever drank milk or had cheese was because people would tell me, like, the animal's gonna die if you don't have that. And I hear that now, and it's not that I even laugh, but I'm like, oh man, that's rough, It's rough because if you hear that, it's like you want to help them, but it's just not true. It's just not the situation. So, my whole childhood I went through it, and I learned at a young age that you get more bees with honey, right? Like, if you want somebody to listen to your message, you have to learn how to be tolerant of people's lifestyles. And that's something that I see lacking in the vegan community. I see people super aggressive. And I definitely had like when I was in high school, I had that phase, like not Facebook, MySpace. I used to like post pictures of dead animals, like because I was like so like punk and like, look at what's happening. And I was very like in your face, but I knew better because I learned when I was younger, people would listen to your message more if you were more compassionate about their story. And I still think that's true today. I'm 32 years old, and my whole life I've seen that more people are willing to listen to a message that you're trying to promote if you're being compassionate about their story, about where they're coming from, and you're not being judgmental. And I see a lot of people in the vegan movement movement get very turned off by the way people act, by the way vegans act. They're like so in your face, so angry, and they're like, but the animals, you have to be a real vegan, you have to yell at people. And that's just not the case. That's just not the situation. I have 3 children that I'm raising vegan who are all very healthy and they're very happy. And, you know, I teach them tolerance. Like, people are on their own journey. And, you know, sometimes maybe people can't adapt to a 100% vegan lifestyle, but if they're reducing their meat consumption, then they're definitely making a dent. You know, that's a good dent on the planet. You know, they're really like, you know, banging these meat companies' wallets. And I try to teach my kids tolerance over everything. I'm someone that goes to protests. I'm someone that's very involved in my community and, you know, these vegan communities. And I could see why people get turned off. But I have to say, you know, I've been a vegan for 17 years. I became a vegan when I joined a martial arts class, which is a totally entire wild story. And I'll share it with you all one day. But my sensei had told me, I was like, oh, I'm a vegetarian. He's like, oh, great. He's like, do you eat cheese or drink milk? I was like, yeah, well, the animal needs to because the animal dies. Where you get your calcium? And he's like, you can get that, you know, without eating those animals. When I was a child, I always thought eating meat and drinking milk and eating cheese and all that was really good for you. And I always figured, I'm like, you know what? Well, I'll always be unhealthy. I'm just always going to be unhealthy. But when you do the vegan diet right, you actually can be very healthy. I have 3 children and natural births, you know, and I haven't had like any crazy issues other than lower blood pressure with my diet. I feel very fortunate that I became a vegetarian at such a young age because I did grow very compassionate, you know, not towards animals, but even towards humans, again, about their story. And there are many people that I know that reach out to me and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, I remember when you were in school, when I was in high school, and, you know, you told me about what happened to dairy cows, and I've been a vegetarian for 6 years, you know, like I get emails like that a lot. And it's funny because it's like, it's almost bittersweet for me because I only ever wanted to just be positive and, you know, talk to people about why I was a vegetarian and vegan. And I never bring it up. I never bring it up. Even now, I'm bringing it up now, obviously, because it's my channel and I want to talk with you all about it, but I never bring it up. Even on the podcast page, if you look at my podcast page, I don't talk about it because I don't want to throw it in people's faces. Now, some people might come at me and be like, you have to do that, you have to do that. But I'm telling you, like, my whole life, I saw that you get more bees with honey, and if you really want to spread a message, you have to have compassion. It works both ways. It can't just be compassion for animals. You have to have compassion for humans as well. And people can have their, you know, opinions on the vegan diet and opinions on the meat diet and carnivore diet, because we all have opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's the way that you go about it. And I wanted to share this video because this is deeply rooted in Nature's Premier, and I've done a lot to keep them separate. But as the business evolves, as I evolve as a person, my children get older, and you know, the reasons why I started the business start to like creep its head again, you know, like when I talk about it on the show, on the podcast, you know, about different environmental issues, I just can't help but get really compassionate. And I can only keep the lid on my passion tight for so long before it just bursts and I'm like, everyone, I'm a vegan. Don't wear fur coats and, you know, eat raw plant diets. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it is only so long I could like keep it on the DL, you know. And I wanted to share my journey with you all and talk with you all about how, you know, veganism isn't just a diet for me. It's really not. And there are a couple people that posted like, you know, why I'm still a vegan, and, you know, it's kind of like attacking people who are not vegan anymore, and that's part of their journey. Hey, some people eat meat and then they go to being a vegan and they go back to eating meat, and then they're in between. Their good in between is being a vegetarian. So they might not eat meat, but they might still eat dairy and cheese. And honestly, that's an improvement for me. That really is. But I wanted to share this with you all today because like there's so much negativity out there, and as someone who has been a vegetarian pretty much my whole life, minus 4 years, and a vegan for over 17 years, I see so many different like movements and agendas that come in, and people trying to sell stuff, and, you know, just a lot of like ingenuine types of behaviors. And I'm just a mom, you know, I have a small business, and I just wanted to share my story with you guys that I've been a vegan a long time, and I'll always be a vegan because I'm vegan for moral reasons. It's just a part of my life. It's part of who I am, and that's just why I'll always be a vegan, is because I love animals, and I just can't ever see myself eating meat. I am someone that I just could never have meat, and I raise my children with knowing where meat comes from. If they turn 18 years old and want to have a cheeseburger, that's on them. That's on them. They know where it comes from. They have the tools, they have the education behind them, and that's on them, and I love them the same. You know, and I think that's what we need in this movement is more compassion and more people that are just trying to spread the message and not attack people, because again, they're you know, throw it in their face that they're not vegan. Oh, you animal murderers, this, that, and the third. They're gonna go and eat like 3 steaks and they're gonna like thank you for it. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be 3 steaks eaten on your name. So that's something to really take into consideration if you're someone that's new in the vegan movement, because again, when I was in high school, I was definitely that type of vegan, right? I was like real obnoxious, but it was for a short period of time, because then I realized, hey, people don't want to talk to me anymore. Hey, people aren't asking me questions anymore about my diet, or they're not talking to me anymore about veganism. So when I just kind of like fell back 110%, that's when, you know, I really started to get more engagement of people being like, oh, so what are you eating? Oh, you're not eating any, do you want any chicken, or do you want any fish? Oh, no, thanks, I don't eat meat. You don't eat meat? How long have you been eating meat for? And this, that, and the third. And it's like, and it's always like, oh, you know, I just don't eat it. You know, it's just not part of my diet. There's no reason to be argumentative. There's no reason to be hateful. And I feel like people would take vegans more seriously if we were just more compassionate to each other. Because again, it's not just about being compassionate to animals. It's about being compassionate to each other and to humans as well. So I wanted to share, you know, my little video, my little shtick, or my little shtick about being a vegan, why I am a vegan. I love animals, I love the environment, I want to make a difference, and I'll always be a vegan for that. I'll always be a vegan. Even if they call it something else and they call it like plant-based-tarian, like I'm a plant-based-tarian then, you know, like I'll always be a vegan. I love animals, and I would love to share my message if you guys want to listen to it, if you're interested in learning, you know, different things about it. I'm not a doctor, I'm just some chick that, you know, loves animals and doesn't eat meat. That's pretty much the situation. But I wanted to be real candid with you. I want you guys to kind of like see like the back end of why I do what I do, why I am, why I kind of try to marry the sustainability and the environment into the, you know, business end of how we raise our children, because I feel like, you know, when, you know, the kids that we have now, like these young children that we're taking care of, you know, we have to raise them to be stewards of the earth, because there's so many different things that are happening. And we talk about that on the Nature's Premiere Weekend Review show. You know, there's so many different issues that are happening with poaching, with, you know, deforestation, and with all these environmental issues. Like right now is where we really need to buckle down, and we need to, like, you know, band together. Okay, like what can we do to make the environment, you know, like here when we get older, like, so it doesn't go extinct. Like, what do we do to save the Amazon rainforest? What do we do to save the indigenous people? Because they're dying too, you know, and it's really scary. Like, what do we do to save each other so we don't kill each other, so we're not a bunch of maniacs that are gonna just, like, you know, nuke the planet in 30 years? Like, what do we do to stop that? This is pretty much the lid blowing off. This is my passion. I love animals, I love the environment. I've been a vegan for 17 years, and I will be a vegan for the rest of my life. I can say that wholeheartedly. I'm not a part of any movement. I'm just Brooke. I'm just me. I'm just a mom, just got a small business, and I'm someone that's really hopeful and very determined to make a difference in the environment around me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if you like this video, please do leave a comment below and let me know, and I'd be happy to make more videos like this. Take care, guys.